Grass.
Good morning, dear Dharma friends. Well, it would appear we get another day. Thank you to Judy Garland for Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Some songs are deeply imprinted, aren't they? It is Friday, the 22nd of April, 2022. A week from now, I will be in Whitehorse in the Yukon. I'm teaching a 3-day retreat there. Not this weekend, but the next one. At least that's the plan. We'll see. It's a beautiful morning here. There's a layer of clouds, but it's not very thick. The sun's going to be very bright in a few minutes. Not so long ago, it was dark at this time in the morning, like really dark. So, I have a little poem for us. Rumi. You have lived for lifetime after lifetime as a piece of rock. Then somehow you became a plant and forgot all about that. You then lived for lifetime after lifetime as a plant. Then somehow you became an animal and forgot all about that. You then left for lifetime after life. You lived for lifetime after lifetime as an animal. Then somehow you became a human being. You have completely changed state countless times already. Do you think you have now arrived at the end of your evolution? You have lived for lifetime after lifetime as a piece of rock. Then somehow you became a plant and forgot all about that. You then lived for lifetime after lifetime as a plant. Then somehow you became an animal and forgot all about that. You then lived for lifetime after lifetime as an animal. Then somehow you became a human being. You have completely changed state countless times already. Do you really think you have now arrived at the end of your evolution? With great kindness and generosity, we rise a little early. We do whatever it is that we do in the morning. Take care of our bathroom needs and make a cup of tea or coffee or do our yoga or whatever it is, the ritual. Brush the teeth. And then we make our way to the Dharma hall. In this case, we can't push open the door and walk in. We push the button, raise the screen, adjust this or that switch so that things work. And then we appear here in the place of our training, under the Bodhi tree. We take our seat. It is an act of kindness to our compatriots whenever we show up, because we are supportive of each other in this way. My tribe is sitting now. I want to join them. My tribe is dedicating itself to the welfare of all beings. My tribe is not taking sides, except the side of love and kindness, the side of generosity and mindfulness. And so let us be clear. My intention is to be mindful now. To use the breath or some other chosen object as an object of observation and concentration, and to return time and again to right here, right now. We are supported, nourished in our practice by the refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. It's here like a hammock under us, sort of. To remember why, what am I doing here? Fundamentally, it's asking the question, who am I? What is this human life? The Buddha, that which is awake, conscious. Mindfulness is a doorway to the Buddha, an approximation. I take refuge in the Dharma, in the way things are, in the truths of impermanence, of dukkha, unsatisfactoriness. And on the fact that I belong to this entire universe and beyond. That I am that. And anything that occurs, the 5 hindrances, the various emotions, the moods, we embrace. And each breath has a welcome sign. You are welcome here. I am welcome here. Each breath has a beginning. Sometimes there's a space between breaths. As the stress level of the organism, of the being diminishes, less oxygen is needed. Carbon dioxide builds up more slowly. So there's a rising to fullness, a decline, and then quiet. Until there's a hunger for more air. And then the tension builds up until there is inbreathing. Inbreathing all the way until fullness, and then outbreathing. Being born into a singularity, a body, creates an inherent aloneness. And through our lives, we find ways to band together. Our families of origins create templates of how we can do this and what we can feel and can't feel, how safe we are. And then if we're very fortunate, we discover community, Sangha. And then we get to practice our walking each other home practices. It's different on Zoom, but when we practice together in the same place, same physical space, particularly it's obvious on retreats, we connect beneath our separateness, or we reveal, more accurately, the connection that is constant between us. And so let us connect with the part of ourselves that really longs to be loved and connected. It's the part that longs to hear, "I love you." Or maybe it's, "I'm so glad you were born," or who knows what it is each of us really longs to hear. "I notice that you're suffering and I'll stay with you." And so we can approximate. We can point at the intentions of loving ourselves. May I be free from inner and outer harm. May I live with ease and grace. May my relationships go smoothly. May I awaken to my true nature. And of course, in a way, we are not alone. And we may acknowledge each other. May you be free from inner and outer harm. May you awaken beneath and beyond all the traumas, all the disappointments of your lifetime. May your relationships go well, smoothly, lovingly. And so we rest back into our interbeing with all of life. Just as I and you want to be loved, so is true for all beings. May all beings know happiness, the causes of happiness, the end of suffering, and their path to the end of suffering. It's sunny. Well, I don't have a lot of words this morning. I would like to remind us that Tuesday night next week, the not many words at all. There will be a ceremony at PIMC known as the Elm Dance. Pardon me. Please look on the website. It's a gift to us down through time from the people of around Chernobyl. And Betsy Toll will be bringing the heart life energy that she carries and that of Joanna Macy to PIMC. So beyond that, I think I don't want to pull up the old announcements. Please. I guess this one's important. This is a really precious opportunity to sit together. And it comes about through many different forces. Ruth Denison sits with us. The Buddha sits with us. And as we move forward into the year and we're doing our PIMC budgeting, for reasons unknown, I think COVID, generosity fatigue from all the asking for the major project and so on, but our monthly dana, people who give once a month, direct from their bank account, is down about $2,000. We're running at about a $2,000 deficit at present. And given the number of people that participate in PIMC, it just doesn't make any sense that we're having that concern. So Donna, I had a simple but very satisfying Dana experience last night. I was coming home from being with my son and his partner and their two boys at the aquatic center in Forest Grove. Nice time there. And I stopped at a 7-Eleven. And as is so often the case, there was a fellow 50 feet away, sitting there in the rain shadow of the roof with a bicycle, clearly homeless. And I, as is my custom, I went over and asked him if he had enough food and was he okay. And he said, well, I would like a Coke and something to eat. So I got him a few things to eat and a hot burrito and took it out to him, and it was such a pleasure, right, to know he slept warm last night. He may not have had a comfortable place, but he had fuel in his belly. And I could do that without feeling it, right? It was easy for me. And this is the fabric of generosity. We see, we look, we keep our eyes and hearts and ears open, and we say, oh, here's a need, and here's a need that I have the capacity to do something about. And so PIMC is a brick and mortar building. It has all the usual bills and paying the staff something. So if you're already a monthly giver, then that's wonderful. And I bet it feels good. if there's some way you could increase that, if it would be appropriate for you to increase that, why don't you increase it? Easy. If you're not doing that, then maybe consider it. And it can be any amount you want. You might even try just a little amount and see what it feels like. But we give for our own sake, not to assuage our guilt or whatever, but we give because the giving opens our hearts. And we start feeling like we have more than enough. So that's what I wanted to say, or feel responsible to say. You can find out how to do that or where to do that on the portlandinsight.org website. And there, done. What about you? Another opportunity to bring our true experience to each other.
Robert.
A voice.
A voice.
It's Pamela.
Pamela. I noticed something during meditation today. I've been noticing that I have a lot of distraction internally right now. It's very, very hard for me to feel like I get any quiet at all or any time where I'm focused at all. And I suddenly realized that is just fine. And what I noticed,
yes.
and I one of my thoughts had to do with going to retreat and having time to let all that stuff bubble up and kind of go away and then get quiet. But with all the different things that I'm taking care of right now, just having a quiet time to let my thoughts bubble up and have my own thoughts is just fine. And I just had a big smile on my face when I finally realized that. I just wanted to share that. It felt really great.
So to summarize, there's a fair amount of restlessness and agitation, and you can take that as a meditation object. You can actually observe it, not personal. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hooray.
It was fabulous. It was I know you've been talking about that for a while, and I got it, at least in this moment.
Fantastic. Now, you said there were thoughts bubbling up, and then there were your own thoughts. Where do those come from? How are they?
What I meant to say was one of the thoughts that bubbled up was that it was just fine to be doing this. That I because I kept trying to come back to the breath, mm-hmm. and I would get a breath or two, and then I was off to the races again, and realized that it was just fine. It was okay. I could just notice that was going on, and
right. Wonderful.
Let it go.
One can describe that phenomenon a lot in different ways, and I try to. And then when a person, has the experience, suddenly it becomes very obvious. It's like, oh, right. I'm not successfully finding the breath, so let me see what else is. Oh, it's one of the 5 hindrances. Right, okay. Now I can take that as my meditation object. I can be relaxed and calm and observe restlessness and agitation and perhaps the disliking of it. No battle. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Good morning, Robert. It's Jessica.
Hello, Jessica.
I just wanted to jump on what Pamela was saying, because I think that's exactly that idea of no battle finally struck me this week or so, because likewise, I've had all sorts of hindrances daily, just like, and I started to go down that path of what's wrong with me? What's wrong with my practice? Why can't I find quiet? And all of a sudden I likewise just went, oh, wait, this is okay. I'm okay. I haven't lost it. Don't fight it. Just watch it. And so I really understand and felt that when Pamela was describing it, like, oh, that's okay. Okay. I'm not a total loser in this. It's okay. It's fine. Anyways, thank you.
Yay.
Hey, Robert, it's Shannon.
Hello, Shannon. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, beautiful day. Uh, I wanted to throw in that for those whose personalities and earth costumes contain being queer, we have the Be Queer Now group on Sunday evenings at 6:30 on Zoom, and just kind of wanted to throw that in there. So,
Thank you.
Morning, Songa. Hey, Robert. Hi, everybody.
Hello, Birch.
Hey. Yes, I feel the call to share a gift received yesterday. Met my father-in-law. He's got days or perhaps a few weeks left, and we were finally able to get a social worker to be able to help his 86-year-old wife of 65 years to just know that there's a pathway forward. So my husband and his mother were with the social worker, so I had half an hour with my father-in-law. And it was such a gift. I was able just to say, so what's this like? What's dying like? And of course he said, well, I'm not so much afraid of not waking up. And that's just going to happen. But it feels like a large empty room, this dying process. And then what bubbled up, of course, was the places where he had regrets in his life, or he still had some hatred, some of the betrayals that he'd experienced. So he was able to talk about those 40-year-old betrayals, and it was great just to sit beside him, hold his hand, and breathe, and then even just interject a little bit to acknowledge what gifts came out of those betrayals. right? As a result of the pain that was experienced. And then also to look at where those betrayals reflected an older wound where he'd hurt his own father, he'd betrayed his own father. And it's just such a beautiful gift to be able to, and then I got an opportunity to let him know where I felt I experienced betrayal from him.
Huh.
Yeah. It was the first time in 25 years of knowing this man that I'd actually had a real experience of conversation and connection and a sense of communing in a relationship. So it was just, I just want to share that experience and just the whole family system, the nervous system of our family calmed down in a way that was such a profound gift. Something I think there's a desire in my, as the in-law, my desire was to that co-regulation and be able to be present. And but I don't know, whatever the inspiration was, just to say, so what's dying actually like? It was a perception and felt sense altering experience, just to bring that curiosity and I guess the courage. And one of the things that I'll finish with this, just saying that the courage, I appreciate people in Sangha sharing in your own moments in your own life. I felt bolstered up. I just want to say thank you to all of you and the courage to show up in your lives too. It helped me show up in a moment that was such a gift. So thank you.
Thanks, Birch. Jim, it looks like your eyes are hurting.
They're not really hurting, they're just irritated. I'm irritated with them and they're irritated with me. I've got some medication going now, so it's getting better. And I'm facing east.
And the sun is there, you mean? Yeah.
After all those days of gray, now it hurts to be happy in the sun.
morning, Robert. Good morning, Sangha. It's David.
Hey, David.
Hi, Robert. So, hello, everyone. So, just on the subject of dying, that Birch so eloquently raised, and thank you so much for that, Birch. It was such a beautiful sharing. So, I heard a quote once, and I'm not sure where this is from, so I can't give a source for this, but they were talking about the process of dying, and they were saying that if we're trying to conceptualize and try to think of what it's like, to take your three favorite experiences, your three favorite objects, and your three favorite people, and you write them on pieces of paper. And then the process of dying is, of those 9 pieces of paper, you take the 3 that you can let go the most easily, whether it be a combination or one, as you wish. But you take those 3 and you let them go. And then as the process of dying continues, you take the next 3 and you collect them together and you let them go. And then you have 3 left. And of those 3, you take 2 and you let them go. And the moment of dying is that moment where you take the most precious thing in the world to you, whether it be a person or an experience or an object, whatever is most important for you. And the process of dying is letting go of that. I find that such a beautiful conception of it, because it seems that both my parents passed. My mother passed in 2017. My dad passed in 2019. And the process of dying was a process of letting go of that. And it's such a eloquent and beautiful and yet also a hard experience. So I wanted to share that with the Sangha. So I find it helpful. It would help me at the time anyway. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you, David.
Good morning, it's Francine.
Hello, Francine.
Yeah, death and dying notion going around. I listened to a lot of teachers, and I don't know who this fellow was, but he said death doula, Buddhist death doula. And he was on and on about the process of dying. And then in the Q&A, a student asked, well, is it necessary to wrestle with the notion of dying? How much time or effort, and obviously the young lady was in a lot of angst about the thought of dying. And his response was, of course we should wrestle with the notion of dying. Wrestle away, just know that you're going to lose. So I thought that was lighthearted.
I guess there's a little piece of the story that I didn't start with. I just want to acknowledge Kathy's experience in the hospital, how hard that must have been. I mentioned that in the chat. But it was the day before yesterday, when this intimate moment, there was an explosion. His mother, his brother, the doctor were screaming at each other. So I think that's important to acknowledge that there can be a disruption. There could be like all these other things that happen, like the horror and the joy are often in a relationship together. But I think I just felt compelled to say that there was actually, and it was the hurt that came out of that actually allowed the wound to be present, that allowed some of the calming and the healing to come afterwards. So it's amazing just to watch the pendulum swing between experiences too. So thanks for letting me add that piece, because I think it's important as well. The mess.
There's some very powerful sharing happening on the chat. The back channel is full of love and honesty as well. I often don't see the chat, so I'm glad I went and looked just now. We have a collective delusion that being healthy and functional and having enough to eat and getting along with each other and so on is the norm. And it's just one card in the deck. It's one hand. Because at the same time when my life is going smoothly and so on, someone else's is completely crumbling. And it's not a mistake. It's not, it's a strange thing. I'm having the privilege of being very close with two people who are dying right now. One person who will most likely use the Oregon Death with Dignity Act. And all the questions, all the complications, and all that letting go. David, that experiment you suggested, the items, and you let go of them. When I've done my death with my Remembering Death Day, I do that, but we tear them up one at a time, starting with the least attached. And that's quite a thing. It's just a piece of paper. But you tear it up and you drop it on the floor, and it's like, well, goodbye, my child. Oh boy, it's powerful. And of course, we will all let go of everything. Glad you made it, Kathy. That must have grown you up a ton. Inevitably did.
Yeah.
Thanks for the encouragement. It was terrifying, to say the least. So
yeah,
I couldn't do anything. I was severely disabled for over a year. So, and only one doctor could help me. And that was because he actually listened to what I was trying to say. And he was acknowledging my concerns. Most of the other doctors and hospitals brushed me off. And they're like, there wasn't a space for what was happening. So, sometimes just having, so I had like an hour-long conversation with one doctor, and we figured out a lot about what was going on during the pandemic. And that helped to motivate me to further work on my symptoms. So it was pretty awful.
And here you are.
Yeah.
Hooray. Hooray.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I need to be heading off into my rather busy day. Anybody with something on the tip of the tongue, the tip of the heart that wants to be spoken?
I'd just like to add one more thing if I can, Robert.
Sure.
So after my mother passed in 2017, I remember quite clearly she passed in the wee morning hours, and I was with her body for about 6 hours after she passed. And then I walked into the parking lot and in the morning, and I remember quite clearly thinking, I've now joined the group for whom their mother has passed. And I realized that that it was a very, very large group. I kind of looked around me at the people in the parking lot and the people all around me. So I think the trauma and the tragedy of death, of course, is a lived, felt experience and needs to be acknowledged and grieved. But it's also a moment of connection too, with all others for whom they have experienced death, which is most of the planet. So I remember just having that very kind of a profound, I just sort of looked at people passing by and thinking, have you had this experience? I didn't ask them, it's none of my business, but it's a moment of trauma, but it's also a moment of connection too, so thank you.
Yeah.
And happy Earth Day, everybody.
Yay. Thanks, Jelly.
Sorry, Earth Day.
Yeah, really.
So how is it up there in the Yukon? What am I coming toward, Jill?
Sunny.
Sunshine. I don't know if you can see it.
Sunshine. I don't. There's still a lot of snow, though, isn't there?
There is a lot of snow.
Okay. Bring my woolies and my boots.
That's right. It's supposed to go up to plus 10 and 11 this weekend. So we're about to start the big meltdown tomorrow. So who knows what it'll be when you're here.
That is Celsius, at least.
That's Celsius, yeah. Yeah. But anyway, we're excited to see you in 6 days.
I remember being there one time when Atlin Lake thawed overnight.
Mm-hmm.
That was something.
Yeah, it was. We were just there for the last week in Atlin.
Huh.
Skiing on the lake.
Huh. Wonderful.
It's not thawed yet.
Okay, friends, let us sing our way home. My plan is to be back on Monday morning and on Sunday, the usual time at 10 o'clock. And please join us then. Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam Bhavatu Sabe Mangalam Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu.
Thanks all. Be well.
Thank
Take
you.
care,
Bye,
friends.
Sangha. Bye, Sangha.
Thank you, Robert.
Bye-bye.
Happy
Bye.
Earth Day.